Hello, my name is Caleb Smith with the Rocket Miner newspaper, here to provide your news update for June 17th, 2020. I just got back from Yellowstone National Park early this morning. I've spent the last few days with family, and thus I'm just going to do a little bit more distancing for a while we are wearing masks when out in public. My two cousins are doing a cross-country road trip, and when it was just us, we were keeping our masks up. But just this is an extra step that I'm taking for consideration of the people around me. Today, we had an update on um, the local impact of the coronavirus, especially in Sweetwater County. While health officials have made the decision that they're no longer issuing a press release for each and every positive case we have, they're still providing information and occasional updates. It was noted that as of the briefing earlier today, there had been 3 confirmed positive cases within the last 24 hours. That brings it up to 10 confirmed cases in the last 9 days. Sweetwater County sits at 35 test confirmed cases, with 12 active in the county right now. Breaking it down because we've been watching these numbers for a few months now. Since May 1st, there have been 25 confirmed cases in Sweetwater County. That's compared to 11 when statewide restrictions were clamping down on some things. In that time, we've had 3 hospitalizations and 0 deaths, fortunately. One of the 3 most recently reported cases was an employee of Southwest Counseling. And contact tracing is in effect. People are reaching out to those they would have had exposure to. It was noted during the briefing that while private businesses don't have to disclose, Southwest Counseling Service is a public organization. So that's why they want to just get that information out. One of the things we keep hearing, and I think there are very few people who don't know this right now, is that the simplest way to stop the spread is without massive restrictions is keep wearing a face mask, keeping your distancing, wash your hands, just trying to not get as close to people. And none of this is new. And I know we're all tired of it, and we don't like it's masks are uncomfortable, especially in the summer. Actually, even in the winter too, at least in my experience. But honestly, if I had the choice between wearing the masks through the summer or having to go through another round of serious shutdowns with everybody working from home again, some of my preferred businesses not being able to offer dining or in-house dining or some other place or other restrictions, I say mask is easier. That's me. Our county health officials noted that they're not trying to um, over exaggerate the dangers, but they do want people to be taking personal responsibility for what they can do, weighing risks versus rewards. I mean, me personally, um, getting to see family members that I don't get to see too often. I didn't make it back to the Midwest this past Christmas. Just to spend a little bit of time with them and the Grand Tetons, Yellowstone. That was worth the risk. Um, I was admitting to somebody after the fact that I wouldn't necessarily do that for every family member. And, and if any of you are watching it, yeah, I do it for you guys. Don't worry about it. But just, we all have to make that consideration. And whenever we can take some steps to potentially limit our interaction with other people, or at least keep it at a safe distance, we should consider doing so for their families too. Dr. Gene Station, the county health officer, noted that people don't like to hear about it, but it's not going away. Um, we had our weekly editorial board meeting today, and one of the observations made was if pretending this wasn't an issue was an effective strategy, it's the numbers would be much different than what they are right now. Speaking of those figures, that's an awkward not a smooth segue. In the state of Wyoming, we're up to 884 lab confirmed cases, 230 probable cases, and 18 people who have died due to the coronavirus. I mentioned before, Sweetwater County's figures are 35 test confirmed cases in addition to 8 probable. In the United States, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention are reporting 2,132,321 total cases, which is 27,975 more than yesterday. Total deaths sits at 116,862 people, which is 722 more than yesterday. Johns Hopkins University reports the total is up to 8,328,538. Global deaths sits at 448,455 people. Excuse me. Allergies. I've just been around where there were actually lots of trees. In addition, global recoveries are up to 4,056,742 people. And other news, if you didn't see this on social media, the Associated Press is reporting that the company Quaker is retiring the Aunt Jemima brand. I personally, when I went into lockdown, tried a couple of these pancakes in a cups on a lark and actually quite enjoyed them. Maybe you're like me and you're going to have a couple. These are going to still be sitting in your pantry for a little while, but in the near future, you're not going to be seeing that mascot. This is similar to when Land O'Lakes rebranded and took the Native American off the butter. I have one of the newer logos out there right now. The announcement from Quaker Oats says that the company recognizes the character's origins are based on a racial stereotype. The article cites specifically a 19th century minstrel celebrating the mammy, or in the kindest possible terms, a black woman content to serve her white masters. Even the very first person who was the model for the design, Nancy Green, when she first became the face of the pancake product in 1890, she'd been a slave earlier in her life. One of the things that I saw online that I just wanted to share is to be trying to be understanding on other perspectives. A friend of mine noted, in kind of blunt terms, white people don't get to decide what is offensive to black people and what is not. I've already seen some people say, like, this isn't offensive, this is fine. You can say, this isn't offensive to me, I find this fine. But, I mean, honestly, there's no one white person that talks to everybody, no one black person who talks for everybody. And we should be just listening to other perspectives and trying to understand where they come from. I'm not saying you have to agree with them. There are many people that I can listen to for a long time, and I don't agree with half they say, but I still want to be as respectful as I can and still try to understand words and see where they're coming from. Products taste the same no matter who's on the back of the container. I intend to keep buying it because I have enjoyed it. No paid content in this commercial. This is just a guy who likes pancakes, and he's a bachelor guy who only has whose cooking skills are still somewhat rudimentary. But I was just thinking that when my cousins were here, that was something that we were all having for breakfast one morning. One of them had the genius idea of, we can put banana chips in these. And I'm like, I never thought of that. Your son's, that's where my cooking levels are. But we didn't even think about the mascot or the impact it has on other people. And that's something that I'm personally going to try to work on. One other thing as we wrap up, and I'm trying to work on this myself, is if you spend any time in the comment sections lately, it's kind of getting ugly out there. It is nice when there are passionate people expressing their opinions thoughtfully, considerately. It can also be a dumpster fire in the comments. And you have to work to find the good stuff, and sometimes you can't even get to it because there's just nothing but ugliness in the way. So I was just pulled up an article just talking about just some general tips for Facebook. Part of what the goal is you want yourself to be heard. You don't want to be putting out your message in a way that it gets you blocked or unfriended. So the general tips are: think before you post. Be considerate of who your audience are. Might there be people out there who think it inappropriate, rude? We are already seeing some politicians, and we're just going to continue to see some in the coming years, of people having social media comments come back to post them. Sometimes some very entertaining explanations about how I didn't mean to post what I posted. Sure you didn't. You didn't mean to pay the consequences of posting what you posted. I'm not saying don't post something that's controversial or whatnot, but be thinking about it first. Protect your online persona is another advice, saying consider your privacy settings. If the example this Huffington Post article gives is, a potential new boss may think twice if photos of your Saturday night antics are just a Google search away. I'm not going to name specific names, but we've had multiple cases of some prominent people posting, and in some cases being reprimanded, or if not fired from their jobs, because they don't want people being associated with their brand, with their reputation. Third, respect other people. It says don't gossip about other people on your timeline. If you're going to post embarrassing pictures, you can post them of yourself, but think twice about posting embarrassing photos of other people who may not be uncomfortable with it. This is something that I'm hearing a lot more discussion about. Unfriend with caution. Saying your timeline may be clogged with people you may not know as well, but it recommends using the mute feature rather than straight up unfriending. I didn't really use the mute feature until this year. I've used it a couple times. Hope I get to keep it rare. And I personally haven't unfriended anybody. I know people have unfriended me. That's on them. Their loss. Similar to the practice you've often heard with phone calls, socialize when sober. In the same way that you don't want to make a drunken telephone call to somebody, don't post your drunken rants, your heartbroken outpourings at 3 a.m. in the morning when you're not quite all together. That's the type of thing that leaves you open to ridicule and regret. Cover your tracks. It notes that if you have been lying about what your plans are, whether you're trying to avoid something, whether you're trying to keep something from somebody else, beware about how you check in, or how you get tagged, or just what you post. It was I thought you said you had to wash your hair tonight. How come I'm seeing pictures of you online? That conversation doesn't go anywhere pleasant. Just be smarter from the first place. Says status change with certainty. Only update your relationship status if you're 100% sure of the union or split or reunion, getting back together again. If you're constantly changing it, you're causing yourself more drama than you probably already need. Another thing to consider is what messages are best delivered through Facebook and which or other social media, and which ones are best left through more private communication. Particularly sensitive or bad news, it's better to have a phone call or a face-to-face meet. With our time of social distancing, that's an extra factor you have to take into effect, but there are some things that you don't want to get as a text message, or you don't want to get out of bloop. Just keep that in mind. Also, especially for many of these social media sites, consider when you're broadcasting to everybody and when things should be kept private. When should you just be commenting privately as opposed to posting on their wall, which is still open to the public, if not an open letter to everybody on your chain. Just think about that first. And then, the last one is consider, do I really know this person? And do they really want to know these details about me? I mean, I know that there's some people that I can tell you almost every single meal they've had for the last couple of years because they post it every day. And that's a part of it, but it's really more some of these intricate details, talking about oversharing or particularly intimate information that, like we've covered some of these other categories, you may not necessarily want out there. And as a general tip, don't accept friend requests from strangers. It's weird. And a large percentage of the time, it's a scam. So you don't want to be getting a hold of these people anyway. So these are just some general thoughts to help you brush up on your game on online media, help you better and more appropriate deliver your thoughts, comments. Whether it's personal updates like your vacation to Yellowstone, or, like I said, breaking news from the rocket miner. I'm Caleb Smith, wishing you a good day and a safe tomorrow.